Hello. Step into a world shrouded in ash and darkness, where legends come to life and ancient powers linger. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We're playing Forbidden Lands, embarking on an epic journey through the frozen glaciers, volcanic mountains, and treacherous seas. Join us as we set sail on long ships and explore the unknown, braving dangers and discovering untold treasure that lies beneath ash and snow. So grab your weapons, sharpen your wits, and put your back into the oar, because the adventure begins now. We will be opening our session not with Gunk, who is in severe danger right now, but instead we'll be focusing on Mirren, Zaldrin, Bacho, their companion Wolford. They're sitting in a, let's be honest, it's a hovel. It's a thatch hut. It's got dirt floors, wattle walls. Your host, Oscar, has given you some mead to fill the time. You're chit-chatting. Wolford is talking probably a little bit too much. Bacho being his signature quiet self. Zaldrin, we're going to zoom in on you for a moment. Let's get a more detailed picture of what you look like right now in this moment. How are you sitting? How are you drinking? Are you drinking a lot? Not very much?
Zaldrin is drinking a fair amount. I would say kind of more than others. She's an orc. She's got, kind of the bun at the top of her head. Hair is sort of messy. She is kind of doing the lean back, chair tipped back on the back two legs, feet just off the corner of the table. She is definitely getting comfortable in this chair, kind of rocking on this wooden chair as we're all sharing stories. When she puts down her drink, it's just a little bit too loud, just a little bit sloshy.
You've seen a lot of combat, I assume. Do you have any visible scars?
Yes, she has a very large scar that sort of goes from forehead over eye and down her cheek.
And how did you gain that scar?
So this was in her, she managed to survive. She was raised to do combat and competitions. She managed to get out of that unscathed and went out and traveled in the world. But she was in the forest of ash and sort of happened upon this battle that was sort of already going on there. This is how she and Bacho crossed paths. And she didn't necessarily know exactly what was going on and ended up taking an axe to the face, being in the wrong place at the wrong time and seeming as if she was involved with something that she was not.
Just barely grazed you then, or did it actually go deep and cause a severe injury?
No injury to sight necessarily, but it is a fairly visible scar. Not that she was a particular one to care for her looks before, but this is a very obvious injury and scar that she makes no effort to hide or really care too much about what people think of it.
As you all are talking, like I said, Wolford tends to just not shut up at times, but you all can participate in the conversation as much as you want. There's a lot of sharing of news and current events. There's no real messenger system in this world. So when travelers come by, that's how you learn about things in distant lands. As you're talking, there is an interruption, though. Someone new comes into this hovel. It is a tallish orc, very thin, very lean. He is losing a bit of his hair, but he's still got enough there, and he has a very deep widow's peak. He comes in, he looks at the group of you around the table, and then just continues on and settles into a corner and pulls off a bag and begins to just unpack a bedroll, a few rations, things like that. Oscar chimes in. This is Voku, everyone. He's the other visitor I told you that will be staying here. Voku. He just gives a little wave and keeps going back. Was your search successful then? No, I couldn't find much of anything. What's going on here? Having some lunch? Having some dinner? Got any extra? Sorry, Voku. I gave them my last cup. You'll have to wait for them to finish. I sure am thirsty. If someone would like to share.
You could have my cup, Voku. No blood in this ale. It's not worth drinking.
There's no shortage of hospitality in this town. I love Rochdale. He cheerfully takes your cup and begins swigging it back. Although it does seem like the hospitality is also going to give us lice sleeping in such close quarters. And he kind of like starts looking at Bacho up and down.
That might be true. Maybe you ought to step outside.
Why would I do that?
Well, if you don't want to get lice.
I would prefer not to, but I don't see how going outside would stop that.
Well, if you're worried about my fur, then that's the only way, because I'm sleeping right here. By the way, there's a little rat fellow who's going to be joining us too. He's a very close friend.
Oh, a Skraeling. He's not staying in the Warrens?
No, he promised to be back really soon.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure it'll be a pleasure to meet him, just like it's a pleasure to meet you. He kind of settles on Wofford. Do I know you? No, I don't know you at all. Huh. All right.
Many people want to punch him in the face. You may remember him from that. Maybe imagine a black eye?
Well, he's got a black eye. Oscar punched him just last session. Maybe the black eye is why I don't recognize. You seem awfully familiar. No. I've never met you. Never met you in my life. All right. So what all are you lot doing here? Just traveling through? Not many people come to Rochdale specifically.
Oh, we're just traveling through for sure and drinking pints. Look how big it is.
He kind of holds his cup next to yours. Seems about the same size as mine.
And Zaldrin sort of looks at the cup in her hand, her large hand, sort of holds it up. Yes, I think they're all the same size.
That seems so much larger down here.
So are you staying in Rochdale long? Am I going to have to be sharing quarters?
No, we're just heading out to the city across the river so that we can...
Lingen.
Yes.
I've been there quite a bit. Have you been there before?
Yes, though only maybe once or twice.
I have a good friend there, a fellow sorcerer named Dustin.
That sounds like we should perhaps travel together.
Oh, no, I'm not going there. I just came from Lingen.
Oh. And Zaldrin is going to look at Mirren and Bacho. Isn't that who we're going to see?
Mirren will kind of look over to Wolford. Is Dustin your friend?
No, I've never actually met him or anything like that.
Didn't you say that he was going to give us like lots of money?
Voku chimes in. Well, you'd have trouble doing that. It's a shame what happened to him. He was robbed recently. Yeah, someone took a supposedly very rare artifact, some sort of stone tablet covered with all sorts of runes, and took most of his money too. Wilford just kind of looks away.
Bacho puts one very large clawed hand on Wolford's shoulder. I think we're going to have things to talk about as soon as Gunk gets back, Wolford.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. I haven't seen Dustin in ages and ages. Let's go ahead and
Zaldrun-
cut.
Oh,
sorry, go
sorry.
ahead.
Zaldrun, how long ago did Gunk leave? How long did he say he was going to be back from?
And Zaldrun is into her cups a bit, and she's just going to say, now that you mention it, it's probably been longer than it should have been.
You shouldn't have let him go off by himself. Pack has to stay together.
Well, I was informed that, I believe, as he put it, my size wouldn't permit my entrance into the Warren, so I don't believe I was invited to go.
I just wanted to watch Beaufort get punched in the face. Sorry.
That's fair. That does sound like good sport.
All right, we will be cutting to Gunk here. Gunk, when last we left you, you were crawling through the Skraeling Warrens outside the town of Rochdale. These warrens have tunnels that are very small and cramped. You have to crawl on all fours to get through them. It's very natural for you and other Skraeling. Other kin would find that very difficult. You did come to a den of sorts. It's got multiple openings in and out. Every tunnel has multiple connections and passageways. It's like a big web underneath the ground. You can get from any section of the Warren to another 4 or 5 different routes. You came to a den, and there is an emaciated Skraeling in front of you, covered in sores. It has to be near death. Can barely lift its head, but it just so feebly opens its jaw, and one of those parasites begins to pour out. A long eel-like creature. It's got oiliness coming off it. The mouth is very leech-like, the concentric circles of teeth inside, and then 2 eyes. And it comes out, and it's kind of swaying, and it sort of scans the room before settling on you. And you hear a low hiss. What are you doing, Gunk?
I'm going to, very carefully, very quietly, I'm going to back away. Clearly, I have come to the wrong place. And so I'm going to try to just carefully leave, find shadows, stealthily move, that kind of thing. Keeping eye on it, walking backwards if I have to.
You start to slowly back away. And this whole time, you've heard the skittering of Skraeling feet, like you were going towards them this whole time. Now you hear them coming from behind you. They're not necessarily like getting extremely loud, but you are hearing them from the direction you came from, as well as kind of echoing all sorts of directions from the den in front of you. You don't see anything as you look around, but you slowly start backing away. The Skraeling in front of you seems like it's too weak to even stand, but that creature is still locked eyes on you, or if you're going back into the tunnel, it's still watching the tunnel as you turn around the corner.
Okay. I'm going to look. So I can hear them coming to me. You said the very circuitous, these tunnels. Yes, many different ways to go. Is that fair?
Yes, exactly.
Is it following me into the tunnels at this point?
The one that you saw does not seem to be following you.
Okay.
Looking through, you come to like an intersection. You can check. It goes 3 different directions, and then the direction you came from, you don't see anything. You can just hear the skittering of feet.
I'm going to get very nervous. And I will say I should not have called Zaldrun fat. Oh no, this is not good, not good. And then I will reach down to the ground. I'll pick up a chunk of mud or dirt. I will smother it on my face, and I will cast a spell. And I'm going to, Earth Mother, I need you. Please guide me. Show me the path to the surface, and I will continue. I will continue to follow and praise you till all is done.
So I'm going to go ahead and cast True Path. True Path is a spell that can guide me to the right path when you face a difficult decision, such as a strange circuitous network of tunnels where there might be Skraeling coming down to haunt and kill me. Once I've cast a spell, the GM And I'm gonna emphasize this word, must tell you which decision or choice she believes is the wisest. Okay.
Can you pop that spell up for me though?
Sure. It's under awareness.
Gotcha. Okay.
Actually, you know what? I always forget that this has ingredients, doesn't it? Okay, so I probably wouldn't have scales.
Well, in that case, never mind. Let me cycle that. I'm gonna have to get ingredients.
Hold on. I would be willing to say we're in the beginning. You would be able to have some ingredients. If you want to use an audience die to have that ingredient, you can have it.
Oh, okay. That's very reasonable of you. I will do that. Yes. Okay. I will. Only to power up. Thank you. Hey, 1TS Toby. So I don't even need to do it, but since you offered it, I'm going to take it anyway. Because I'll take I'll just do that anyway. I'll go ahead and roll.
Thank you, Toby.
I'm gonna go ahead and roll. It's power level 2. I'm gonna spend 2 willpower points to cast this. Because I think I want to make sure there's any specific reason for me to bump this up to power level 2. Yeah, there's no real reason for me to bump this up to power level 2 that I can see. Okay.
And you're rank 2 already, so this
2.
doesn't have a chance of failure.
Right. So, but I still got to roll based upon whatever. But I have no ones, so it doesn't no miscast or anything. No 6s or anything either.
Right.
So it's just it just goes off normal.
The right path would be taking a right. If you take a right, you're looking back, you remember the mud feels cleaner in a sense to the right, as if there's a little bit of rain that has trickled through and washed all of the gunk away.
But that is me.
The Earth Mother has told you that if you start going down the right path, you can retrace your steps. You'll probably be able to head off this crowd of Skraeling headed towards you.
Without hesitation. Because the Earth Mother has spoken to me, I will go. With alacrity, quickness, but also I will be diligent to not make too much sound.
I do want a move check for you to move as quickly as possible, but go ahead and take 2 for that spell as well.
Okay, like 2 bonus on the die?
Yes, 2 bonus dice.
Gotcha. Let's see. It's agility, but I am hurting right now with agility. So it's 4. And then I get 2 more, you said? Okay.
I am going to push because I got no successes.
That was a lot of die with no successes. Okay, there we go. 2 successes, but I also took a point of agility damage. So 2 successes.
All right, so you are scrambling through. You're keeping the panic down. You know the right way to go. You're just trying to move as quickly as possible. There are a few moments where roots and rocks are sticking out of these tunnels, and you're scraping past. You have dark vision, basically. You're nocturnal, so you can see where you're going, but you're moving so fast, and the tunnels are so narrow that you just can't really avoid all these sharp edges. You take a couple scratches here and there, and eventually you do see the final bits of light coming from the day. You can hear the Skraeling skittering around you, but you have moved so quickly and purposefully that you have not seen any of them on your way. You come out into the warrens. You're in a pit right now. You're surrounded by tunnels and openings, just numerous entrances into this warren, but this pit is empty like how you left it.
I am looking to evacuate the premises, return to my companions, where I think assistance is needed before I investigate further.
Yeah, you'll be able to get out just fine. You start scrambling up the edge. You hear the skittering. Looking back, you might see like bits of fur that are still in the tunnels, but none of them actually come out into the light at all. After that,
how bright is the day, by the way? I'm sorry. How bright is it right now?
It's very, very dark right now.
They still won't come out. Curious.
You can still see, like, there is daylight, but maybe just a half hour left.
Yes. But we are nocturnal, yes, but we are not afraid of... I will make mental note of this curious behavior.
Yes, and like you said, Skraeling are nocturnal, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have a specific sleep style that they stick to. It just means that they can be awake whenever they want. They can be asleep whenever they want. Normally, these warrens would be abuzz with activity at all hours. You know,
exactly.
They are on a very irregular schedule. They don't always work like 9 to 5 like people would. They just, whenever they get up and around, that's when they start working, whenever they feel like it. And whenever they want to eat, that's when they eat, that kind of thing.
So I will make mental note of this. It is very curious. I've seen many things. I am probably nervous, but I am. Thank you, Mother. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I will continue to just kind of scramble out and try to work my way back. But I will also, once I feel like I'm like a safe distance away, where like nothing is following me, I do want to do like a quick once over of myself. I want to make sure nothing snuck into my pack, on my person. I do have a lot of mud on me, and so things can weasel, kind of worm their way in. So I do want to check that kind of stuff just to be sure I'm not carrying anything with me.
The warren itself is only a couple minutes from Rochdale. So you get about halfway or so. You're very confident that you're not being followed. You take off your gear, you start sorting through it. I won't require a roll for this. You can just look through. You feel confident there's nothing on you of that sort. You find a few roots that got stuck to you in your fur as you were crawling out. Might give you a little scare as you feel a little knot that wasn't there before. But there's nothing new, nothing parasitical on you.
Okay. Then I will, with all haste, make my return to Rochdale to find Bacho and Mirren and Zaldrin.
You return to Rochdale. As you're coming in, you find that there are several humans coming in as well. It appears that the warriors and families that were called by Steinar are starting to trickle in, just the first few of them. They seem to be heading to the Thane Hall. You can find your way to Oscar very easily. It's within eyesight of the hall, and you saw where your companions went. So let's go ahead and pick up there. You all are wondering where Gunk is right now as Gunk stumbles through the door.
Back, brother.
Bajo, we have a problem. We have big problem. Well, small problem, but it physically small, but metaphorically quite large.
And I will look around. Is anybody not us in earshot of me? Is like Osgar and everything there?
Oscar, Voku, and Wofford are all very close to you in very tight quarters. This whole hut is maybe 9 foot by 9 foot. So there's really no privacy here.
Oh, well, I beg your pardon. One moment. Could we get huddle outside really quick? I don't mean to be rude, but it is kind of personal family business, if that is right.
Oscar chimes in. No offense taken. Feel free.
Bacho turns and looks at Wolford and growls low. You had better be here when I walk back in, or I'll track you down and eat your liver.
Wait. I thought I was coming with you. He said he wanted private talk with us. I'm part of the group.
You're
not in the game.
Oh, dear. No. Did we give you that impression? We didn't mean to be misleading, but no, you're not family. Stay here.
But I went with you. We found the tomb. We got the tablets. No. Voku's tomb? Tablets? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you might. Wolford, why don't you talk to not Goku about this?
Zeldrin's going to slam her chair down, and she's about to kind of drop the ale. And then she sort of looks over at Voku, who was interested in kind of getting more drink. And then she kind of picks her ale back up and takes it with her and walks outside.
Here, Gunk, to calm your nerves.
Oh, thank you.
There's no blood in it, Gunk. They wouldn't put it in.
I thought it was kind of bland.
Yeah, low alcohol content, but what can you do sometimes?
After the evening I've had, I will take it. Oh, goodness.
The four of you leave the hut. The village itself is preparing for nightfall. The gate is almost closed at this point, but they're leaving it open because a lot of people are still coming in. Steinar is watching. The blacksmith, a dwarven fellow, is packing up his tools for the night, about to head into his hut. The furnace is dying down low. There are still people milling about, but it's as private as you can be inside these walls.
My friends, you recall that parasitic creature we saw deep within the tombs?
How could we forget?
I have just seen another one, far closer to us, far closer to civilization, far closer to the surface. I went to visit the colony, the Skrellings, to say hello, to see what news they had, and I found the Warrens. They felt deserted, but they were not. They were there. I know that I could hear them moving around, but they were avoiding me. That is not our way. They would have greeted me, and then I kept journeying, and I found one Skrelling, sickly and dying, and then from it, that little small creature that came out of the bear. One was there. It hissed at me. It was all I could do to run. The Earth Mother, thank her, has found a way to return me to the surface, to my friends. I was quite fearful. I am fearful for self, but I am also fearful for my family, for my cousins, for this colony. They are in danger. This whole city, this town might be in danger from this little creature.
Was there any other obvious wounds other than just the dirt and the cysts and the pus?
I admit I did not stay for long. I heard a crowd coming close to me, and I was not sure if they were friend or foe. If all of the others were infected with this thing, it could act like the bear and go wild and try to eat me or something. So I ran. I thought we could investigate, but together, safer.
Gunk, if they're your pack, then of course I'll help you.
I don't know them personally, but all Skrelling, we share a bond of outcast and scavenger, and plus we communicate in ways that furless ones will not be able to communicate. They will have news that these humans will not have, and I thought maybe they could tell us more, but now I worry. It's very strange.
Gunk, can I ask a personal question?
Yes.
In your society, how deep do you bury your dead?
Oh, Steven, do you have an answer for that?
It would vary.
Okay.
Sometimes they just get left in the pile of trash. Some people are much more respectful. In Skrelling that live within like human towns, things like that, they tend to follow like human customs. Other times, if the Warren's hungry, don't let things go to waste.
We are not wasteful.
And this is the first time one of yours has come back?
Come back? What is it? What do you mean, come back?
Maybe this is a halfling thing. Let's look and see what's happening with your people first before we dig too deep. Maybe it's not good to dig up beyond 6 feet.
Come back? You mean? Wait, you mean come back like died and come out grave and be back?
There's old stories. They're not good, and they're from this area. But if your people here normally don't even waste not, want not, then maybe it's different for yours?
Death is death. That is the cycle of life. You die, you go in earth, or you go in belly, you cycle round, and then...
Just gotta make sure you keep them 6 feet down.
6 feet? I mean, I was at least probably 20 feet down, maybe 30. It is very deep.
But there was an opening, wasn't there?
Well, I mean, this one I found. I am not sure if there is grave necessarily, but...
So it seems that we already brought one set of bad tidings to the folks here about the Reavers. It sounds like we might need to share a second round of bad tidings for what is at their doorstep.
Maybe we should look into it first. They're just likely to burn the warren out. There may actually be Skraeling down there who are all right.
We would not want to forgo the safety of any possible survivors.
Yes,
Bacho would be mostly correct here. There's no real hostility between the other kin and Skraeling, but when it comes down to it, they are separate. And if that warren was putting Roachdale at risk, Roachdale would pick itself over the warren.
we should be careful what we say and to whom we say it to. I would think. I can't confirm that the other Skraeling were also sick or infected, but they did not come out into the light. They saw me and they said nothing. They did not call to me, or I called to them. They did not call back. This is all very peculiar. It'd be one thing if they do not call back to one of you, but to one of their own, I would think at the very least they would have courtesy. So we are nocturnal creatures, but we are not averse to the sunlight, so I move around in it quite frequently. I am concerned. I think we should investigate.
Well, I suppose the next question is, do we investigate tonight with the knowledge that the Reavers are coming in potentially, or do we wait into the morning to see how that pans out before we risk going out again?
I'm assuming it's dark in the warrens.
Yes, very.
I prefer the night, but I understand the Furless don't always hunt at night.
Logistical side here. The Warrens are only a couple minutes from Roachdale, so if there was an attack on Roachdale, there's a good chance that you'd be able to retreat to the walls in time or go the opposite direction. As far as the actual Warrens themselves, like I said, those tunnels are very cramped. Gunk is a very small person. Mirren, you could probably get through crawling just fine. Zaldrin and Batro, you would be army crawling in there. There might be a few like dens and rooms where you can like get halfway up, but you'd still be crouched if you're, finding any sort of combat or fighting.
Fighting while low crawling is not recommended.
I much prefer fighting on horseback. This would not be comfortable, but we will help you as you need us to.
Is there any way to open the warrens up, Gunk? To force them out?
We could smoke them out, perhaps. We don't like too much smoke. We could put fires at the entrances and see if that would take them out. And they come running out, then we would have to, if they are healthy and scared, we must offer significant apology and compensation for discomfort, but it is better to be sure, I think, yes?
We could feed them Wolford.
If they're
That's a good
breathing,
idea.
if they're breathing and if they're seeing in a normal means.
But if they don't come out, then that does also give us some sort of answer as well.
But it could also mean that those that potentially are hiding and healthy are forced to the arms of those that aren't.
It is either this, or you and I go in alone, and I have already injured myself slightly in my retreat, and we would not have Bachol or Zoltran to protect us. It would be dangerous if it's just you and I.
True. Do you know, is there any way of knowing how many would be living in that warren?
It sounded like there were dozens, at least. Is that fair, Steve?
Yeah, 30 to 40-ish from that size of warren.
Yes.
Maybe not
A
just
few
the two
dozen.
of us.
Yes, I mean, I could take like at least, 20, 25.
Oh, yeah.
of them.
Definitely. We can take definitely like the whole warren, just the two of us, but maybe it'd be better not to.
So, since we were planning to travel on to Lingen, might this be something that we could investigate or research a creative or alternate solution to this problem other than two of you crawling in and doing what you can?
Well, it is very small, cramped quarters. Most of the people who live within this Rochdale are large like you and probably cannot go inside, nor can we trust them to put the interest of Squareling ahead of their own. And as you've already mentioned, they have these reefers to concern themselves with. So, as far as I see it, we have two choices. We try to smoke them out, see if we can get better look at them. Or we sneak in again, and that in itself provides some difficulty as well.
Macho, you can't go back in alone. I can't protect you in there, but I say we smoke them out. And if they come out, we can, if any of them are all right, we can question them and find out what they know about who are infected in there.
Yes. This I agree.
Okay.
Smoke it is. And Zaldrin looks at Mirren. Smoke it is.
Smoke it is.
All right. More logistics. If you want to find firewood to smoke them out, you can go out, you can start chopping. That'll take some time. It's getting late, but you can still do that at night. Or you could just ask around town and try to buy some from people who already have it.
The quickest approach seems to be attempting to bargain.
Yeah, and we can hand wave that. If that's what you want to do, we'll say Oscar is willing to sell you a good chunk of his stockpile for 5 copper.
Zaldrin will pass over the funds for that.
No,
right.
I insist. It is my people I should pay.
I will. So
But
I
if
have
you
no
insist,
money.
that is fine. You can take it. That's fine.
All
What's
right.
the
he'll do the
transfer
alligator
from
arm
copper?
stuff. Be like, oh, I'll
Right,
get it.
right.
Oh, I think it's in my other pack there. Oh.
what's the transfer from copper to silver? Is it 10?
10.
Yeah, it's 10 all day.
Bacho grabs Wolford. He's like, you're coming with us. We'll see if you're up for being part of the pack.
Oh, I get to be part of the pack. Yeah, this will be great.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I won't let you guys down.
We'll see.
All right.
Mirren will give Bacho a side eye.
Everyone takes as much firewood as they can carry. Let's say it'll be 4 bundles here between Mirren and Gunk sharing half a bundle. I'm going to activate a map here for you all. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment as you're carrying this firewood from Rochdale to the Warrens.
Of course, Bacho is just thinking about staking Wolford out in the pit at the entrance there as bait. I mean, that's obvious, right?
Yes.
I would be not against this.
I
do what you have to do.
just as we were looking forward to that conversation that happened here, I'm also interested to see if perhaps the other eye is blackened when we reunite him with Dustin.
I do want to take him back to meet Dustin.
This has been quite the entertainment for this bit of our adventure.
Oh, yes. This is probably the funniest bit so far.
All right. Can everyone see this map?
Yes.
So you're looking down. You're at the lip right now, and you've come from Rochdale. You're looking down, and you see this pit that's been not necessarily dug out as much as buried. A lot of these warrens would have been ground level many years ago, but the ash that's been slowly falling just kind of adds a couple feet to it. Go ahead and move your tokens wherever you feel like you'd be. But like I said, there are many, many tunnels here, and you can start a few fires that'll begin to really smoke out the tunnels. You can't cover them all. It's just an impossible logistics wise.
Ven would be back in behind the gates.
Wolford would be down here in the pit.
Fair enough.
With
You should be
Bacho.
able to move your tokens where you guys want to be.
But Wolford would be right next to Bacho because Bacho
Wolford,
still has
sorry.
hand
Yeah.
on him.
He's carrying a bundle. Going right along with you. Kind of smells weird down here, don't it?
Yes. Are you prepared to fight for the pack, Wolford?
A fight? Well, what are we fighting for? And now that he mentions it, there is a bit of a smell here. Normally the air is so cold and dry that smells don't really carry, but there's enough moisture in this mud and muck around here that the stench kind of lingers. And it's not necessarily death or decay, but just maybe disease. All right, so go ahead. As you guys are moving about, setting up these fires and everything, you do hear the skittering. If one of you wants to make a scouting roll, you can do it with the assistance of the others, which would give you a +3 bonus dice.
My scouting's pretty good. I've got 6 dice for scouting.
Go for it, Bacho.
Go ahead. Mirren, are you by yourself on the outside or are you down in?
I've got my bow ready. I'm just a little bit so I can watch up from above. I'm not so good close range.
Perfect.
So, Stephen, question. I got 1 success. Would multiple successes be... Would there be improvement with multiple successes or just 1 enough?
In this case, 1 is enough.
Okay, then I got 1 success.
There would be a little bit more information, but it's just your call whether you want to go for it or not.
All right, then I'll push it. Let's go crazy and have some fun. Mother puss buckets. Okay, I got 4 successes, but I did take 1 point of wit damage.
All right.
Hey, and a willpower point.
4
That's
successes
true,
is
too.
pretty good, though. With the first success, you would see that there are multiple Skraeling moving about these dark tunnels. You can point them out, and Gunk will be able to spot them as well with the dark vision. Zaldrin and Mirren, it's very difficult for you to see this, especially you, Mirren. You're up top, making sure nothing runs out. Bacho, you're looking, and you see that they're coming close to the entrance, but never more than 10 or 15 feet, at least several steps away. And there's one Skraeling in specific that just kind of stands out. Most of these Skraeling are wearing just scraps of cloth or nothing at all, as is common for the fashion in the Warrens here. But there is one that's wearing very loose-fitting rags that are kind of draped about in a way that kind of make it look like robes or a cloak or something like that. And at first you thought it was 2 Skraeling, one and another Skraeling directly behind them. But then you realize this Skraeling is wearing the top skull of another Skraeling. It's got 2 sets of ears, and there's still the fur attached to the skull on top. It's carrying a staff with a crystal on the end of it, and it's the only one that seems not emaciated.
Gunk, do you see that one there?
Yes, that is an interesting headdress it wears. Would we call out to it?
Yes.
Cousin, we mean no harm. We come to trade with you. Conversation. Will you come out and talk to us?
There's a bit of silence. You hear more Skraeling skittering. You start to think there won't be a response, and then you hear, "Why did you run from us then?"
It was not you that I ran from. There was a creature I saw, and it was very frightful. And I called out, and none of you called back.
Many find the beauty of the Skaedun to be frightening.
Right. The skated.
If you'd like, Gunk,
Yeah.
or anyone, you could make a lore test right now.
I definitely would like to do that.
Can I hear the word that they
Everyone
spoke
would
as
be
well?
able to hear this
Okay.
interaction, yes.
I would,
Oh my
I would
God.
love to do a lore check.
I'll try.
All right. I pushed and I got 2.
I rolled on my 3 remaining wit dice. I rolled 3 wands, so I'm not going to be pushing.
Oh my god.
Do the push.
I
Bacho hears the word skated and just passes out.
I did roll 1 success. And due to our generous audience, we have dare I say it, 42.
Nice.
Audience.
You know what? Let's go ahead and just split that in
Auto
half.
win.
You guys
Auto
get
win.
21. I'll take the other 21. It's the only fair way to handle this.
Roll them over to Conan, then into Merlin.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're going to need it, but you never know.
Thank you, audience. You are all so generous. It's very much appreciated. Mirren, how did you do?
I did not. Just 0, 0, 0. We're all blanks. Nothing useful.
All right. So, Zaldrin, you got a success, you said?
Gunk got 2.
Gunk
Yes, I
got
did.
2.
Had
And
a- have
Zaldrin
a
got
success.
1. Yes.
Yeah.
Zaldrin, you have never heard of the word Skaden before. You are a veteran. You've been around the block. You're a bit older than the rest of the group. You've seen all sorts of creatures that this world has thrown at you. Never once have you heard something called Skaden. You're very confident that this is not a creature of legend, not an actual threat that's been encountered before. Gunk, the same thing. But you've done a little bit more research. You're literate. You've read some ancient texts looking for little bits of magical knowledge. Skaden doesn't mean anything specifically to you, but you recognize an archaic word, skado, which used to mean shadow. And if you do the proper declension to it, it could be that Skaden is shadow person, shadow creature, something like that. But like I said, there's really no meaning behind this word.
Gunk will kind of look quizzically at Bacho and Zaldrin, who are kind of down in the pit. Will not look at Wolford.
You'll have me at a loss. Skaden. Is this your deity? Is this your god?
Did you name your gang or something?
Skaden is the children of the god. The children of Desheb.
Desheb?
Is that-
Desheb. The
is that one of
hungry
the-
one. Yes,
Yeah, that's one of the
first
names.
ones.
It's not familiar. Yeah. Okay.
He was the
Oh.
one that was associated with the abyss.
Right. Oh, my poor cousins. And is this Skaden accustomed to letting Skraeling wither away and die and fall into waste as the one that I witnessed deep in the tunnels?
Oh, no. The kiss of the Skaden, that is a blessing. Come here. We will show you.
Why
So,
don't you
but
come
Your
here?
companions could join you. We will
Bacho,
offer them the blessing as well.
you see Bacho's nostrils flare really wide. He sucks in this big snout full of scent. And I'm going to spend 2 willpower points to enact my hunting instinct so I can track this thing for at least 2 days if necessary.
All right. And that'll give you +2 bonus damage if you fight it, I believe, as well.
Yep, +2. Yep.
All right. You get a good whiff of it. That stench of disease is coming through. It you're able to track it, like you said. You gently hear calling out, "If I come speak to you face to face, you promise no harm?"
But of course, we are here for conversation and enlightenment only.
"You have many weapons for conversation, but I will come out." You hear the skittering of the Skraeling kind of backing away, and this one comes out. "I am Skull." And again, you see she's covered in these rags. She's got the head of another Skraeling on top of her head as a headdress. The fur is kind of like peeling off in places where you see the white bone underneath, but the ears are still firmly attached. So she's got like a set of ears on top of her set of ears. Looking closer at her, now that she's come out into the very dim light, you can see she also has lots of pock marks and pustules. There are places where there are wounds that are open and you can see the muscle underneath. And there are other places where the skin is swollen and pushed out, and there is just pus oozing into the fur, kind of like scabbing it over.
Well, hello.
Your names?
Why do you wear the skull of one of your own?
He was the last headman. I am the new headman.
How did the transfer of power take place?
Kind of cocks her head. I am the new headman.
Yes, how did the old headman then become new headman for you?
Snick lost his head.
Oh, for what reason was that?
He did not see the beauty of the Skaden.
Have all the Skraelings in the Warren seen the beauty of Skaden?
We have all been blessed by their kiss, and I would offer this blessing to you as well.
I don't really kiss on first date, but conversation is fine. How did you all come to be so blessed by Skaden?
I suggest you do not make light of the Skaden.
I do not mean offense. I am just curious. When was the first time that you all became connected to this Skaden?
I was blessed by them. I was traveling to the north, and I found their beautiful shrine and birthing place. I returned here with the children of the Skaden. I am their mother. And with that, she'll pull up one of the folds of her robe, and one of these pustules that is kind of like swollen, she'll just kind of scrape her skin, cutting it open, and one of these little eels will start to slowly slither out, and she'll softly, gingerly catch it. The blood and pus is still running out of her fur, but she ignores it. And she just holds it in both hands, and it's just kind of squirming in her hands, covered in the blood. She kind of gingerly holds it out. Would you like to feel its kiss?
Bacho just looks down at Gunk. He's just waiting for the word now.
Will you bring it closer?
And like, I like to think, and you could say this is incorrect, but I like to think that Bacho and Gunk can communicate on a scent level, you know, like
A scent level.
you know,
Very
what I mean?
sensual.
Don't make light. Don't make light, Game Master. Okay. Like a sense of fear or aggression. I feel like that's something that maybe Pack Brothers.
What are you trying to communicate with this?
I think Bacho would know I'm trying to lure this person in for him to smash.
Bacho feels that.
Let's go ahead
Mirren
and
feels that.
let's make wits tests here. If both of you get a success, you'll understand each other. How about that?
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
And remember that we have 42 extras if you're looking
Okay,
for some
I'll take
support.
one.
It's the meaning of life,
I will-
though. If you take away bonus
I'll take
dice,
one.
then we lost the meaning of life.
I'll take one.
Okay.
That's
Gucci.
okay.
I am good. One success.
I've got my
We're-
towel. Everything is good.
Literally rolling for, are you picking up what I'm putting down?
2 successes.
Yeah.
All right,
Success
so-
for me.
All right, go ahead and in a very concise sentence, tell Bacho what you're thinking, Gunk.
I am thinking I am just playing nice to get her closer and away from her. Reinforcements to make it easier to kill.
All right.
Bacho.
You're on the same scent length, and Skull slowly walks towards you, very carefully and gingerly, as if to not upset the creature in her hands. And she's right in front of you, Gunk, and she's holding it out.
Bacho
How
draws and
fascinating.
swings.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and
How
roll
very
initiative, guys.
fascinating.
As he starts to shade a little bit away.
All right. So I've got the encounter going. You're already added into it. So go ahead and roll your initiatives there.
Oh,
And Zaldrin, you have something that gives you 2, correct?
I can. 1 second. I can spend willpower
Oh, okay.
if I want to screw with things, and I don't. So thank you for checking.
Kipser. So combat is the 2 crossed swords on the top right. And you just have to click on the 2 dice next to your name. That'll draw a card for you.
Thank you.
If you want to pull out the initiative tracker, you can right click on those 2 swords and it'll pop up in a different window, and then you can change windows to see other things.
Okay,
Mirren?
thank you very much. I was trying to remember where those were.
Mirren, can we swap initiatives? Thank you.
Certainly.
So Mirren will become 10.
I think it makes sense because I'm up above and probably watching the reactions before acting myself.
I
And
appreciate it.
Bacho is becoming 2. All right, you're updated there. And I will be rolling for the Skraeling. I'm going to be putting a couple of them in groups so we don't hit the 10 creature limit because there's a lot of them. And we will begin. Bacho, you are up.
Bacho, with his fast action, draws his longsword, and with his slow action, swings away. So with my +2 to hit, and my sword, and my strength, and the +2 gear dice, that is 1, 2, 3 successes. But I'm going to push it. I did get 1 on my strength die, but I'm going to go ahead and push it because I want to get more than 3 successes on this.
Skull is going to be dodging this as well.
That's what I figured. Okay, no more damage, but a total of 6 successes.
And I will be taking one of the audience dice that I was given because the audience loves me too, y'all.
It's just rude, but okay.
I mean, they actually don't.
Yeah.
We've been getting a lot of
Okay, like-
feedback.
They might
There's
be
at least-
misleading.
I did
There's at
specifically
least
ask.
one member of the audience, and that's my wife. And I think she loves me too, okay?
Actually, she gave 300, and I said, "Who is that going to?" And she said, "The players."
It's
It
She
did
true.
doesn't
actually
understand the system. She
clarify.
didn't mean it that way. It was an
Wow.
accident.
No.
Okay,
Those go to me.
Clarification was clarified.
Yeah,
All right, how many successes did you get there, Bacho? Because I got 0.
I got 6 successes.
Okay, all right. So she is wearing these leather scraps that will give her armor roll. I think even, it's not going to matter. Yeah, so those are both failures. She has 2 strength. Well, now she has 0 strength. You have broken her. Describe how your sword comes down and just cleaves.
So he pulls the sword and just reverses it and just sinks it down between her collarbone and her shoulder, down into her heart, and just twists it and kind of grinds it out through her body and into the ground, and then just pulls forward and rips it out of her chest.
And you hear a shrill shrieking as these Skraeling come swarming out of the tunnels to defend their now dead headman.
That's fair.
We've got
This might be a bad question to ask, but when you burst a mother spider, a shit ton of baby spiders come out. How many tiny worms are just birthed from this body?
all right, so he cleaves through her and she crumples to the ground. You see the one that was in her hands goes flying up. Gunk, you can try to catch it if you want. I'm sure you'd love to touch it. It falls down on the ground near her. As far as other ones coming out, you don't see any yet, but this is all happening so fast. You know, these Skraeling are running out. There's not enough time for them to come skittering out. All right. So that takes us from Bacho to Zaldrun. What are you doing as I change this music here?
Zaldrun will swing at whatever is close to her, but she is going to kind of shout to the rest of the group. Fire in the hole. And then she'll swing at whatever is whichever.
All right, so you're going to need to no one here is within arm's length of these Skraeling because they're coming out of the tunnels right now. So you'll have to take a run action to move over to one, and you can choose left or right there. One action will be enough to get there. So which way do you want to go?
I am wanting to move closer to Gunk and Bacho.
They're in the center there. If you want to move closer to Mirren, that would be left. Otherwise, left or right, you'd be about the same distance from both of them.
Closer to Mirren then. So I'm moving here
fair enough.
then on the
Yes.
map. I moved, relocated myself towards that ridge line, as it were.
She moved southwest. Everyone listening to this on podcast later.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure how to describe that. Thank you. That is
Left and right. It's all a matter of perspective.
I have noticed that Wofford isn't on our tracker. I'm sure he's going to jump into the fight, right?
Kipser, which way is left? Which way is right?
on your sleeves. Your sleeves.
Yes. Well, this one is left, and this one is not left.
It's
For those
wonderful.
listening, her sleeves say which direction. All right, sorry, Melissa.
Yes, so I rolled 2 successes.
2 successes, and they are going to attempt to dodge as well.
Okay.
0 successes. So go ahead and that's 2 damage then. You have a spear, correct? How are you wielding
Yes.
this thing?
I do.
Describe your attack for me.
So she is basically, since she's running, she is sort of taking kind of an impale action. So she is just running, spear out in front, thrust center mass.
And you get it. You skewer the Skraeling. It's so emaciated and frail. It's almost skeletal. Your spear goes through what little bit of flesh left in the abdomen there. And you see like the little bit of its lifeblood spills out and it goes down. And then its head cruelly snaps back and its jaw opens. And that skeleton inside begins to snap out at you. It has berserk. You have killed it, but on its turn, it will now have to attack you.
That sounds great.
All right. Who's up next then? That is Gunk.
So after Bacho killed, what was her name? Skull. Okay. So one of those eel things popped out. You said. I know you made a joke about me grabbing it. Can I actually?
You could have tried to catch it if you want. Yeah, that would be a
try
move.
to catch it, but can I try to scoop it into my pack?
Yeah. if you're not trying to catch it, I don't see why that would be a skill. Let's just say it's a slow action.
Okay. So I will expend my slow action to scoop it into my pack, and then I will hold it up threateningly. I don't know if this is going to work. I will hold it up threateningly, and I will say, "Behold, I hold the skeleton of your former head woman skull. Another step further, and I will crush this thing with the might of my large and powerful claws."
All right, let's go ahead.
You idiots.
We got a preacher coming back out here. I'm waiting for you to sermonize again, like good Matt Unholy. Let's go ahead and do manipulation.
Okay, good. I rolled randomly the, what's it called? The sharp tongue feature, or sharp tongue talent. So when I manipulate someone and roll more successes than you need to win the opposed roll, I can inflict 1 point of damage to empathy on your opponent per extra success. Okay, so manipulation. All right. Any bonus for getting that they're skating up in the bag or anything?
I'm gonna say no. It was creative, so I'm allowing the check, but this is in the middle of the fight. They're already frenzied. They're coming at you. Getting their attention is hard enough.
Those are the one with Zaldrin. Maybe I'm full the other one. Okay. So you heard it here first. Steven doesn't like creativity. I'm gonna take an audience die.
You can always grab an audience and just take one anyway.
2 successes.
2 successes. All right, and it's an opposed roll that is 0 successes. You are doing 2 empathy
points
damage.
Of empathy. Yeah.
They have 1 empathy. So in mass, we'll say all of them. They are running at you and you break them. This isn't going to be in such a way that it necessarily kills them, but their morale is broken. And you see that they all begin to turn. They're all very weak and frail. They begin to turn and run away. And then similar to Zaldrin, that Berserker talent's going to pop up. They're broken. They're going to get their rank back immediately on their next turn. The Skaden in their mouths almost like seems to take control of them, and their body begins to move jagged and irregular. It's not fluid movements anymore, and they just contort themselves. You kind of hear the sound of breaking bones as a couple of them move too quickly, and they're already so weak, and they begin to continue fighting. But you've activated their Berserker talent on all of them, so it will not activate again for any of them. That brings us to a couple of these Skraeling here. And I've got these marked so that we can see which pairs are going to go first. So we're going to work on the one with Zaldrin and the one near Mirren. The one near Mirren is going to take its action to start scrambling up. It is difficult terrain to get up that wall, so it's going to need to make a move check here. Which it fails. So it's scrambling up and it's digging its claws in, but it just can't quite get up to you fully. I believe with difficult terrain, you still get to move, but you just take a point of damage. Am I right there? Bacho, would you mind looking that up for me?
I'm checking.
Yeah, I knew you would. You're a good man. All right, the other one is still skewered by Zaldrin's spear, and it is going to attempt to bite at you. And these guys hit really hard, so be prepared. That is 0 successes. Your spear keeps it really pushed far enough away that Skaden is coming out and it's snapping at you. That concentric circles the teeth. They're just grinding on each other. The mouth can't close properly. Like there isn't a jaw that hinges on it. So you just hear the grating and grinding of those teeth, but it can't quite reach you despite 1.5 feet of it being outside of the Skraeling's mouth.
So if you fail movement check into a rough zone, you move into the zone, but you fall down. You fall prone.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So that one, because the Skaden took control, it just didn't have the fine motor control, and it scrambles up, but it's still prone. Like it had to just crawl those last few feet, and it's down on the ground directly in front of you, Mirren. We got the two right here. They're going to take their actions to. We'll say one goes on Bacha, one goes on Gunk. That sounds fair.
Well,
they should
hang on
both go on
one
Wolford.
second. There's Wolford here. Much bigger target than Gunk.
It's true. He is a bigger target. All right. So they're attacking. We'll do this one on Bacho.
All right.
That is one success. So Bacho,
Bacha will
Yeah, go
parry.
parry.
I get
All
a
right.
free parry every round, so 3 successes.
And you actually get a +2 on parrying because they are trying to scratch at you. It's a punch.
Okay, well I got 3
But
successes.
that's
so
enough anyways. All right. So on Gunk. That is 2 successes. All right, I'm rolling good now.
Sure. Yeah, everyone believes you right now. I don't have any actions left, so I'm just going to roll my armor, as I do have 2 points.
Was it a fast action to do Sharp Tongue?
Well, I mean, I assumed it was. I wasn't going to try to...
We could count it as part of the slow action to
something.
scoop that up. So you could do your fast action to dodge if you want.
What would be better for me? My agility's kind of low, so I would rather just parry.
You get a +2 to that if you got something that can be used to parry.
I do. I mean, I have my staff. I do have,
Yep,
but I
that
only
has
have it
parry.
in one hand. I'm trying to check because I have the bag in the other, so I want to be fair here. Just want to make sure it doesn't require. Yeah, the staff requires 2 hands, so I feel like trying to parry with it while holding the bag wouldn't be very fair. So I'll just dodge, which is that move?
Yep.
Yes,
All
move.
right. I'm gonna take an audience time, Melissa. So, all right, here
Got
we
it.
go. 1 success. Is 1 success enough, or do I need to get 2?
That's going to be 1. It negates one of my
1
successes.
point. Okay.
So you're only going to be taking 1 point of damage, and you can still do an armor roll.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it go. I rolled a 1, so on it as well. So I'm just gonna let the 1 go through and see if I can get lucky on the armor. So then my armor roll. No, I take a point of damage.
Okay, and that is to your strength.
Yeah.
We've got another Skraeling coming in. One of them will attack Wolford, and one of them will be attacking Bacho. This is the one on Bacho. That is 0 successes. And on Wolford, that is also 0 successes. I rolled 4 2s. What are the odds? And that brings us to Mirren.
Okay, so I am presuming that I already have an arrow knocked, so I shouldn't need to use my fast action. Oh, you just muted yourself.
Sorry, I
instead
just
of-
muted.
Yep, opposite,
Yes,
other way around.
You said you were prepared before the conversation was even going, so it's fair you get arrow knocked.
Excellent. I'm going to shoot the one that's attacking Zaldrin first, and let's see.
Leaving the one
here.
at your feet.
I have a plan that is probably not going to work. So yes, I've got 5 for agility, 1 for marksmanship, 2 for short bow, and can I just go overboard and take 1 from the audience as well?
Got it.
Thank you. That is 3 6s.
3 6s.
Nice.
Describe your kill here.
So I know that there's one right below me, but if I can get the one off Zaldrin, she can get them from behind, and they're prone right now. So shooting them with an arrow isn't always the best thing. I'm going to take aim at the back of that skull, hoping to cut through to the worm coming out the other side and just let loose.
Zaldrin, you're holding the spear, and the creature is almost pulling itself further closer to you over the spear, and that worm is getting closer and closer, and the teeth are grinding, and then thwoop, an arrow just comes, and it just gets it square in the jaw, and it wouldn't really be a lethal attack on a Skraeling, but the Skraeling, you already killed it, and it goes and it hits that Skaden directly in the body, and the force of it just kind of wrenches the entire thing off of your spear. You hear as the guts kind of spread and rip off of your spear and falls down dead in front of you.
Excellent shot.
All right, now you got to come save me. And then I'm going to, can I use is the shove action a fast action?
I believe it is a slow action.
Darn.
Nope. Shove is a fast action. Shove is a fast action.
It's in the little list on the below section. That's why I thought it was a fast action.
Yep.
Can I shove it back down the hill?
Yes, you can. So it's roll melee to shove.
Okay.
And then if the attack is successful, your opponent falls to the ground as prone. It's already prone, so go ahead and take a +1 bonus die here. It will attempt to dodge.
That is it's no success, but it's no one, so I'm going to push.
Okay. I got 1 success on the dodge.
No success.
All right, so you go and you just try to give it a good, without harming your bow, you try to give it a good shove, but it's already prone and a little too low to the ground. It's already got its claws in, so it just, you give it a push, and your hands kind of sink into the flesh. You can feel the bones underneath. It's just skin and bones, literally. You weren't able to push it off. That brings us back to the top with Bacho.
All right, I'm going to swing away at the first group that attacked me. Well, actually, no. Bacho is going to... he's not in melee range of the group that's attacking Gunk, is it?
Yeah, we'll say that you're all within arm's length there. That would be fair. So, you were right next to each other.
Okay, so Bacho is going to swing he's going to use his fast action to swing the weapon, build up some strength, and he's going to swing over Gunk's head to kill the ones that are attacking Gunk. It's like, stay down, Pack brother, and he brings his blade around. So I didn't mention this before. So I've got 3 in melee, and I've got the sword fighter talent. I'm down to 3 strength though, because I took 1 point of damage and 2 gear dice. So.
Literal beast.
We'll see. 1 6. 1 6. I'm gonna go ahead and push it.
I got 1 success on the dodge.
Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and push it. 3 successes. 3 6s. No ones on the skill die or gear die.
Describe your kill here. The Berserker already went off because of Gunk. So this is going to be a clean kill. You're killing the Skaden more than the actual Skraeling.
So you see Bacho's claw reach out, and he basically grabs the Skaden as it's coming out of the mouth, and he just chops it off at the base and throws it aside. And he pats Gunk on the shoulder, and then he turns back to take the hits he's expecting to get now.
And that brings us to Zaldrun.
Zaldrun was kind of peeking around this dead Skraeden here to Mirren, and assistance was requested, so she is going to... there's a little bit of distance sort of with that terrain, so I'm imagining she's sort of taking like the diagonal route up to try to kind of help with the incline a bit.
The distance on this map is going to be very loosey-goosey as well. We can say that it'll be 1 movement action, and you'll be like right at the base of the warrens there, and it's a pit, but you're much taller than these Skraeling are. So with your spear, you'll be able to reach up, and you can stab at this thing prone, no problem from where you are without climbing up.
Okay. And does anything change on my roll due to prone?
We'll say +1 because I don't actually know.
Prone is if a creature's prone, combat attacks, melee combat attacks get a +2.
Okay.
+2. Thank you, Jeff.
I'm rolling so many dice. I will have to do that after. All right, so that's 1 6 so far, and then I'm rolling those additional two d6s, and I still have just the 1 6.
This one does not get to dodge because it tried to dodge Mirren. So you got a success, you said?
Yes, 1.
That's enough to kill it. These things are extremely fragile. So go ahead and describe your kill here.
So Zaldrin is just going to kind of just run over, and she's kind of having to hold the spear up a bit because of the height of this edge. And so it's more sort of at eye level that she just kind of takes the spear back and just sort of goes straight at this. If it were, it's sort of in kind of the back of the leg that it's sort of getting the spear because it was facing Mirren and she's kind of coming at it from behind. So that's sort of an unfortunate spear placement there.
Much appreciated.
And so she'll just kind of withdraw the spear, and you'll just sort of see if there's any blood left in these things.
There's not much. You do pull back, and there is a bit of blood, but they're almost dried out. That was your fast and your slow, so that brings us to Gunk. You guys are easily winning this battle, but there's still several around Bacho and one on Wolford.
Okay, so Bacho he kind of flipped around, helped the one that was on me. I am going to return the favor. I'm going to the classic underneath Bacho's legs, and I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to drop. I'm going to like kind of toss the bag, to the side, put both hands back on the staff, and I'm going to, with my staff, as a fast action, because it has the hook property, I'm going to try to sweep the leg of this one out in front to try to knock them prone first.
Cobra Kai.
I'm going to sweep leg. So this is melee. I will take an audience die, Melissa. And so the difficulty for this, Steven, is if their strength is higher than mine, it's 2. If it's equal or under mine, it would be just 1 success is necessary, but you can dodge.
They have a strength of 1.
All right, mine is higher, so I only need 1 success to actually make this work, and then it's about whether or not, whatever.
I will attempt to dodge.
Okay. I am going to push to see if I can get some more. And I did. You get willpower every time you push, right? Not just take damage.
Every time you take damage.
Every time. Okay, so then I don't take 1.
Oh, if you push and roll a 1.
Yep.
Yeah, push and roll a 1.
Right,
it's not just for pushing.
All right, so I didn't take any willpower.
It's actually it's push and roll a 1 on your attribute dice.
Right. Okay.
I'm just running the game. I trust you guys to know the rules.
I looked that particular rule up like 10 different times. Like, do you get it just for pushing or pushing it a 1?
2 successes?
2 successes. 2 successes for me.
I rolled 0 successes on my dodge.
Okay.
So you go through, your staff perfectly sweeps the leg. You kind of hear a crunch. You feel like something popped. Something kind of gave a little, and then the Skraeling just falls to the ground. The Skraeling itself doesn't make any noise, but that Skaden just
and then
hisses.
I'm going to with the staff, as now it's on the ground, whoosh, try to actually with my slow action attack it while it's on the ground with my +2, and I will take another bonus die, Melissa, on this roll. So this is a different attack. So it's 3, that's 4, and then I get the 2 bonus die. Okay, so these 2 are my strength. Oh baby, that's 3 successes and a whole messload of 1s. Oh my god, I just rolled like 3 6s and 3 1s in this thing. What the hell kind of roll is that? So 3 successes.
That's enough to kill it, though. I can't dodge again, and I don't have any armor on these guys. So go ahead and describe it.
So after Bacho saves him, he turns right back around, scrambles underneath, you're not going to outdo me, old friend. And I'm going to just take the legs out. It's going to flop down to the ground, and then I'm just going to take the butt of the staff and just sort of jam it like right underneath its head until the head kind of cracks all the way back.
And it does. It cracks back. The Skaden starts slithering out. You see it, and you're able to leverage your staff to just press down, and you hear a crunch and a squish at the same time. You see that something breaks in there and it's writhing and wriggling, but it's not able to get anywhere. You think it's pretty much dead. That brings us to, I've got 3 of these guys left. 2 of them are going to be attacking Bacho, which I'll go ahead and roll now. That is 1 success.
I will parry that one. I got 2 successes and a bunch of ones as well, so I will not be pushing.
These Skaden, the Skraeling are clawing towards you and just trying to keep their mouths open as the Skaden comes out and starts biting at you. But you're able to just flick your sword and it just presses the Skaden away and it can't get at you. That brings us to Wolford. Woe is Wolford. Ooh, that's a success. He's going to attempt to dodge. That's a success as well. So this one of the Skraeling comes at him. The Skaden is chomping. Wolford just immediately starts backpedaling, and he kind of just gives it a shove and a slap to make the Skraeling off balance, and he just starts to begin circling around it. And that brings us to Mirren.
Well, I believe I'm going to have to use my fast action to notch a fresh arrow.
Yes.
And so I'm going to take aim at probably...
There's one set that haven't attacked yet, right?
No, I just did both sets at the same time. Okay. So all 3 of them have attacked.
I might need to shoot the one that is going after Wolford, unfortunately.
That's
what a hero.
I'm
glad you guys are coming around on Wolford. I really appreciate that.
From the bottom of my heart about this, but I might shoot the one attacking Wolford.
Wolford's much bigger. You sure don't want to shoot him? Probably easier to hit.
You could miss.
I could miss.
Shoot right through his stomach, and it'll pop out the other side and hit the Skraeling because they're a lot shorter.
Well, my other idea was to try to tell Zaldrun to catch me, jump off the cliff, and then shoot from her shoulders. But I don't think that would necessarily be battle smart.
Epic.
Steve, can we do that one then? Or too much action?
It would require a few checks.
Yeah,
we could make some move checks if you want to.
Okay. I will yell to Zaldrun. Zaldrun, quickly catch me, and I will jump off the cliff.
All right. So I want a move check from Mirren and a might check from Zaldrun. That sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do this. Would you like any extra dice there, Mirren?
I got 2 successes.
I am going to take one just to make sure that I succeed. 3 successes and 2 ones.
Our version of the basketball special. Let's go. We're not Wolverine and Colossus, but we can do it.
You jump and she cradles you like a baby, catches you perfectly, pops you back up. What are you doing?
All right. Now I can aim over Wolford and go for one that is not attacking him. And go for one of the ones that's going after Bacho.
All right.
All right. So that is this, 2 of these. All right. All right. New dice. There we go. And one success.
All right.
I'll push. I don't have any ones in here. I've been very lucky on that.
Oh, goodness.
Two successes.
And still no ones?
I have, you're right. Fair enough. I have one on my marksman and one on my agility. So I'll take that off my agility.
Yeah, the skill one does not count. It's the marksman one or the agility one that matters.
Yep.
Yes.
And if you take damage on your gear die, that damages your weapon.
No, because that one was a 6. But thank you for telling me.
And the willpower too.
Okay, yes, and the willpower, yes, thank you.
You gain 1 willpower, yep. And I can dodge a ranged attack, so I'm going to try to do that. That is 1 success, so I did not dodge them all. You said you had 3, so that's 2 that goes through. You're still getting the kill. Go ahead and describe it here.
So I carefully, I'm kind of like balanced on Zeldra's shoulder, and I'm just able to see over Beaufort and shooting down sort of into the skull of one of the skull that is attacking Bacho.
And it goes clean through. It pushes with so much momentum that the Skraeling falls to the ground, and the arrow just pins it to the dirt and the mud there. You see it writhe and wriggle a little bit. You see the Skaden inside trying to pull free, but apparently the arrow went through that as well. And it is pinned there. We are going to drop out of combat here as these remaining Skraeling are going to attempt to flee. I'm going to take us back to the table too, Jeff. The Skraeling are fleeing. If you guys want to try and hunt them down, you can. You can also hear the mini Skraeling inside the warrens and tunnels are fleeing as well. They're just pouring out of this place. They're not necessarily coming to you. There are plenty of entrances and exits outside of this pit as well. And they just seem, you can hear the movement as, these 20 to 30 Skraeling are just scratching away and clawing their way out, dispersing. What would you guys like to be doing?
I'm not sure we should let them go that easily.
I don't know.
You can
that
definitely
we can
attempt
chase
to
down
chase.
all of them, but
Maybe as many as we can. And I think, unfortunately, Gunk, we're going to have to burn the bodies. I don't think you can salvage the meat here.
I definitely don't want to eat these. I usually prefer not to do it, but a person has to do what they have to do. But we could. I mean, now that we know, we could also consult the Thane, let him know, and perhaps he has oils and such we could pour into the tunnels and burn the rest. But we can
While
chase
this conversation is happening, Zaldrin is just sort of like poking at any that are running by.
Okay.
Listening to see what the decision is.
Let's go ahead and make this a sort of skill challenge here. Each one of you can decide what skill or ability you would like to use to attempt to stop them from fleeing or to attack them as they are fleeing. And each success will get, we'll say it'll stop 2 Skraeling from getting away.
right. Bacho will just do melee. I mean, he's basically running them down and hacking them as they run.
And you've got a long stride. You're easily able to overtake most of these.
Okay, 1, 2, 2 successes. I'm going to push it.
Mirren atop Zaldrin's shoulder would just be shooting any that she can with marksmanship skill.
Okay, fair enough. Go ahead and roll it.
Okay, 5 successes, but I did get a 1 on my attribute dice. And I got a 1 on my gear die on the reroll. So my sword is notched and my strength is failing, but 5 successes.
5 successes. So you are running around and you are just hacking and slashing at all of the Skraeling that are coming out the main entrances. Like I said, there are side entrances and all sorts of exits that are outside of this pit as well that you can see them coming out of. Mirren, I assume you're shooting at those that are starting a little bit further away. How'd you do?
Yes, I got 2 successes and I'm not going to push.
Okay. Yeah. So you bow drawn, pulling an arrow, plunk, got one. Plunk, got one. You get at least 4 of these Skraeling before they begin to disperse and scatter. Zaldrin, what did you decide to do?
So Zaldrin tried to multitask and support Mirren on her shoulders and also poke at things with her spear and rolled 0 successes.
It happens sometimes. Sometimes, Mirren's like telling you, go left, so she can get a better angle. And these things are very agile. They're so small that they're hard to hit. Plus, Bacho is just slashing through most of them that come into this open area as well. So it's hard to line up a target. Gunk, what'd you do?
Gunk's going to try to roll. He's going to roll move. And I think his idea is just like kind of blocking their exits and stuff, like getting in way for Mirren or Bacho or Zaldrin to kind of hunt them down. I got 1 success. I'm not going to push it because I have 2 ones on my agility dice. And I don't want that to happen again. I don't like a lot of 1s tonight.
So with move, you're not necessarily trying to kill them. You're just trying to block them, right?
I'm
Is
trying
what you said?
To block, to try to make it easier for Mirren. I mean, maybe I'm trip. I would say trip, but they don't have legs,
I'm asking
right?
if you want to keep them alive. If you don't want to, it's fine. Zaldrin and Bacho will be able to clean it up. But if you're trying to take prisoner,
I'm fine with them dying. I'm fine with them dying. Yes.
Yeah. So
it's okay,
it is
Zaldrin. We'll just pretend my shots are coming from you. Same direction.
It is a slaughter in this pit. Gunk is going from tunnel entrance to tunnel entrance, blocking with the staff, tripping them as they come out, hiding around a corner. Zaldrin, you're near Gunk, just finishing the job on all of those. They're prone and your spear just downward thrust. Bacho is just a fury. Blood is flying everywhere. You hear his wolf howl. Mirren, you feel like every shot is going as good as it could. Sometimes there are just days where your arrows always fly true, and it feels like one of those days. Regardless, there's bound to be a few that escaped, but you have cleared out the vast majority of this warren. You are standing here in the middle of this pit in the last few minutes of twilight. What would you like to be doing?
Bacho is exhausted. I mean, he's taken a fair amount of strength damage and wits damage, so he's panting, and he leans over and he picks up the headman's staff, Skull's staff, and he hands it to Gunk. He's like, "Back, brother. I guess you're the new headman of the warren now."
I always wanted to be in charge. Most of the time I was because I was by myself, but this is not.
And I'll grab the staff and I'll just sort of take a look at it. It had like a crystal thing on it, right? Did you say so?
Yeah. You look a little closer and you can detect when things are magical by holding them. Yeah. You don't get any power coming off that. Yeah, sorry.
Damn.
But the crystal itself is nice. It's shiny. If you take it to the right dealer, it might be worth a silver or 2. It's definitely seen better days. It's scuffed up and scratched from being dragged around those tunnels, but it could be worth something to someone.
I will use both of my... I have 2 stabs in my hand now, and I will call over Zaldrin and Bacho.
Help, please.
And I will use them from a distance and like maneuver my pack and kind of open it up and see if we can get that little eel that came out.
I'm curious. Perhaps we might learn something from this, but be ready with smashing and such.
You're going for the small one that you used to intimidate, right?
I remember I scooped one into my pack, and so
right
the
now, small one. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
right. And so
yeah. All right, I got you. You don't need a check for this.
Okay.
This thing is literally a newborn. You could say, newly hatched. So it's not capable of really moving very far on its own. It just kind of squirms and wriggles and writhes, and it kind of spins on itself. The hardest part is not accidentally damaging it as you use your staff to kind of push it in, but you're able to do it just fine. And you can get it in like its own pouch, not necessarily like or a pocket or wherever you choose. It doesn't have to be in like the middle of your bag, but you can definitely secure that.
Perhaps we could find a shaman or alchemist. They might be able to tell us these things weakness, how they work, how they tick, how we might be able to prevent them from doing whatever it is that they do to these people, like they eat them from inside out, wither them some way.
What would you like to do? Do you want to go inside and see if there are more? Do you want to see if there are survivors? Or do you want to just leave this that we have done our good duty for the evening?
Are you?
We do need to burn or bury the bodies at least 6 feet. It's not good to leave bodies in this area.
Burn them.
You keep saying that. What is it you know?
Just the old tales. It's you just maybe one day when we're at a campfire, I'll tell you some tales that my granny and grandfather told me. And for now, maybe it's better not knowing and just doing.
Wolford will say, she's right. It's bad luck to leave a body out in the open. You got to at least burn it.
You're right. Go ahead, Wolford. Start collecting them in one pile in the center here.
Oh.
No, Wolford. We appreciate you volunteering to assist us here.
Wolford, you don't want the knocking.
I might not have mentioned this, but I am actually allergic to most rodents. They just achoo, achoo. I just, something about the dander, it gets to me. If I touch it, I will break out in hives.
It's weird how this is the first time you've sneezed. We've been traveling together for many. You know that I.
Yeah, I think you're hypoallergenic. Actually, I'm really surprised. Maybe it's because you're so clean.
I was thinking though that digging the hole, you don't have to touch anything, so that's perfect because you can dig the hole and we can move them into the hole after it's been done.
I didn't bring my shovel.
You have hands, Furless.
I don't believe
break a nail.
Any of us have a shovel on us. So how do you think?
Someone go ahead and make a manipulation.
We're going, not Zaldrin.
No, there's no way I can manipulate anyone. I mean, I could try. It's 2 dice.
I'd be rolling 1.
I've got 3.
I've got 4.
Hey, there we go.
All right. Let's see here.
Take a bonus die because you. Oh no, you didn't save his life. Never mind.
I looked like I could have saved
it. You looked like you could have. That's not enough for a bonus die. Sorry.
You can still take an audience bonus.
I will take an audience die.
Okay.
Damn audience, always undermining my authority.
And that is 2 6s. Thank you, audience. You gave me a 6.
Nice.
All right. You have convinced Wolford that he will start building a pyre. You brought all this firewood. So he's going to start stacking it and stacking bodies and things like that. He's definitely going to rip off a few pieces of rags to cover his hands because he doesn't want to touch anything. And he'll be using like wood and stuff to carry the most of it, but he's doing the work begrudgingly. What would you 4 like to be doing now that the bodies are being taken care of?
Sitting around watching the hole being dug.
Zaldrin, do you want to crawl inside? Oh, I'm sorry, Mirren.
I didn't know if you wanted to see if any of your kin had survived this awful.
I see. You want Gunk to perish. I understand. I will go. I will brave the tunnels, and
I will go in with you now that it seems that most of the ones to fight have left. I offer my aid.
It's all right, Gunk. I can come with you. We can make sure, and then maybe collapse it from the bottom up while we come back out.
That is a good idea. We should do this. Yes. Just to be sure.
Yes.
I don't like it, Gunk.
Nor do I. But it needs to be done.
I'll crawl in front of you. If one of them comes, I can tear its head off with my teeth.
Why don't I go in front of you? And if one of them comes, I will knock one down in front of your teeth.
All right.
I can see very good, so.
And right, I have spared myself of any of their bites, so I can handle a little if needed.
Zaldrin, are you going to go with this expedition then? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. We all want to make sure that Gunk gets out safely.
But before I go in, Bacho walks over to Wolford, gets right behind him,
Big sniff up of his neck. Growls a little bit. Little saliva goes down the back of his shirt. I've got your scent now, Wolford. Be here when we come back. And I'll spend the 2 willpower points since I earned a couple extras just to keep an eye on him if he decides to run.
I don't know why you don't trust me. I've been nothing but nice to you. All right. You got his scent, 2 willpower for 2 days. And you begin going in. Those of you who are tall, you are having to like army crawl.
Mhm.
Bacho and Zaldrin, you kind of have your weapons in front of you, just so they're ready, because the other option is that you'll never be able to get it out.
Mhm.
So you kind of like push them forward and you're inching. It is so tight for the 2 of you.
Yeah, we've got a -2 since we're cramped if we have to fight in here.
Gunk,
Zaldrin and Bacho.
yeah.
Got it.
Gunk, for you, it's like we described before. You're on all fours and it feels natural. You know, it's close quarters, but it's nothing that you're not used to. Mirren, this is still off-putting for you. You can fit a lot easier, but you're still like on your hands and knees, or you're like squatting and walking sideways, you know, like just trying to make it through. It could definitely feel very claustrophobic. You also don't have any light. Is one of you going to light a torch?
I would definitely want light. So since I'm not army crawling, I will carry the torch. And have a dagger in my other hand.
So you got your torch and dagger out. We'll say, what was our marching order? Gunk is going first.
Gunk will go first, yeah.
Mirren second to give light to Zaldrin and Bacho. That sound good? All right. Gunk, you vaguely remember the layout here. It's not anything that you can directly pinpoint where you're going, but it's enough that you can get the general direction. And you start going towards where you've already been before. Mirren, you are following. You kind of have to remind Gunk to slow down a couple times, especially for Bacho and Zaldrin, because he can move so much faster than the rest of you right now. Eventually, you get to that first den where you saw the very feeble Skraeling Gunk. And this is the point where, Mirren, you can stand up straight now. Zaldrin and Bacho, you can finally like stretch a little bit. You can't stand, but you can at least like be in a seated position with your head just barely touching the roof. You can stretch a little bit. It's still very claustrophobic, but at least you can flex. You can get those cramps out. You decide to keep pressing on. It goes like this for a while. It's very slow going, with you 2 crawling as best you can. Gunk, you find several dens similar to the one that you found already. There are various pieces of trash in various states of repair or disrepair. You can tell that this was a working warren or colony at some point, but it's been a while since they've actually focused on repairing anything or crafting anything. 3, maybe 4 dens like this, you get deeper and deeper till finally you see something that's just a little different. Should I say you smell something a little different first? You smell rotting flesh coming from up ahead. How would you like to approach?
Do you smell that? I smell. Oh.
Decay, rot,
Yes.
old, rancid flesh.
Yeah, even I can smell it, and I'm not the best at that like you.
Perhaps I should move ahead stealthily first and just get a lay of the land before we bring the torch close enough, just to be sure.
Sounds good. Scream if you need us.
Oh, yes, very loudly and without
yes.
any reservation.
Oh, excellent. I'm glad we're on the same page.
These tunnels are so serpentine and non-linear that it's very easy for you to go ahead without the light of the torch following you. Just a couple minor curves and you can't see the torch behind you anymore. And another curve unexpectedly opens into this next den. And you see no movement, no Skraeling, but up ahead, above, from hanging from the ceiling, you see hundreds of roots that have been pulled out from the earth. At some point, you must have gotten even closer up, or maybe this is the remnants of a forest that's been long buried deep under the earth. These roots have been pulled down, and they're used as hooks and ties to hold hundreds of dead birds. At some point, this was probably some sort of like food storage for the Skraeling, something that you might have seen something similar in a warren that you grew up in. But these birds have just been left to rot. They are in various states of decay. Feathers are just falling down. Normally, this would be something that's more maintained. These birds would be kept fresh. You wouldn't let anything decay like that because you'd be eating it.
Gunk is horrified at the waste, the food waste that is happening here.
That is horrifying. But what you find even more horrifying is that as you start looking closer, in between many of these birds, there are eggs, soft-shelled eggs hanging from these roots. The difference is these aren't tied or hooked like the birds are. These have some sort of like secretion or like ooze that just sticks them to the thickest of the roots. And one root that might hang down, 6 to 12 inches has at least 6 or 7 eggs stuck to it.
Gunk will... is there anything else I can see before I backtrack? Anything you want me to roll to see if there's anything hidden that I can see from here?
These dens don't have many hiding spots. If something is hidden, then it's just buried. Okay. And as far as you can tell, that there's no dirt or anything like that that's been recently disturbed. If it was buried years and years ago. Most of it is very compacted from movement and walking. As you look closer at one of the eggs, you do feel like something just swirled around inside it.
Oh, goodness. I will hurry back to the group. It is a terrible sight ahead. There is a food storage room. Most warrens have them of some kind. But interspersed within the food are eggs, but not bird eggs. I suspect it might be these creatures, these little eel-like creatures. They are gestating and hatching from the roots of an old tree. We must burn this place.
Well, we've got the fire. It's going to be a problem for us if we're this far down because some of us aren't so quick moving to get out while there's oxygen to breathe.
You all can get a head start and I could remain, set the fires, and I can run much further and faster. And I know the way. Earth Mother has shown me.
Something to consider is this den, while it's not a huge room, it would take a sizable fire to actually burn everything within it. So that'd be like several trips of firewood being carried down here. It would require more than just one person running with a bundle of wood.
Are we good enough with our navigation skills to figure out which tree is over this area and burn the tree from the outside since it's connected to the roots?
It's definitely something you could attempt. Absolutely.
So you said the room wasn't very big. There are several dried roots hanging down. Old corpses of birds. Why could we not use the torch to just start setting several fires with it?
Birds aren't necessarily flammable. They do burn, but they're not like kindling.
Feathers are, especially if they are old and desiccated.
The roots themselves, they absolutely would burn, but like holding a torch to a root isn't going to start a massive fire. Like there's just not enough kindling to burn everything in this room. It's definitely doable. I'm just saying that it'll take a few trips. And throughout this whole time in the tunnels, it seems like the warrens are empty. You haven't faced any threats or anything like that.
Do we want to make several trips up and back, or do we want to try to locate what is above and burn from the safety of outside the warren, where I can stand my full height? She sort of like cracks her back a little bit.
Why not both? Divide and conquer.
I see. Since this room will not spark into flame immediately, that gives us more time for our departure. I like how you think.
Zaldrun and I could go find the tree and start the burning.
I'm not too slow. Gunk, I can keep up. I just can't see very well.
Let's call this a survival roll. And whoever wants to roll it will get assistance from the whole group working together, which means +3 bonus dice.
My survival is 2 and my wits is 3. So I've got 5 dice at the moment because I've taken some wits damage.
I'm also 5 dice, and I don't mind supporting Bacho.
Go for it.
I'm at 5 as well, actually.
Yeah, I'm only at 4, so.
We're a survival bunch.
Yes, apparently.
So who wants to roll?
So who's rolling?
Bacho, I believe.
Okay. All right. 5 dice.
5 dice +3.
Oh, that's right. +3. With the assist. Well, that's a little bit better. 4 successes.
4 successes. All right. Crawling out of this warren is going to be the hardest part of all this. Gunk and Mirren, you're going to be going up and trying to take as much kindling that Wofford hasn't quite ignited yet. Let's be fair, he hasn't gotten much of the pyre built at all yet. So you guys are taking as much kindling as you feel like you can spare, and shuttling it down into the den. The two of you can move a lot faster without Zaldrun and Bacho crawling behind. Zaldrun and Bacho, you're able to feel like you have the right position. You get to a point where this ash-covered forest, it actually isn't a single tree sticking out of the ground. You feel like you can't actually find it until you sort of, Zaldrun, you kind of stumble on something. And looking down, you see that this is a dead tree trunk, almost entirely buried in the ground. This tree could have been anywhere from 10 to 30 feet tall at some point. You start digging a little bit. Gunk and Mirren, there's a little bit of dust that starts falling down as the digging happens. You don't actually know what it's from, but Gunk, you've been in these warrens enough to know that cave-in is a danger, but it's probably not going to happen. Bacho and Zaldrun, you would be able to figure out at this point that burning up above wouldn't necessarily be able to cause much, but you could try to collapse if you want.
Yeah, I think that's what Bacho would be like. Zaldrun, perhaps with Ven's assistance, we can knock this in to the cavern.
I left Ven behind the safety of the walls. I didn't think Ven was going to be useful in the crawling through the warren aspect of this. But I can jump. I am not a light individual, and perhaps result in
no,
the same
Gunk said
effect.
you're fat. All right.
Did not say that. Said she was large. Probably would not fit
Yes,
the
I'm
dogs.
sorry.
So would that be like a might roll? Or
Yeah, let's make it a might roll.
can I assist Zaldrun?
Whichever one of you wants to roll gets a +1.
Okay.
So I'd be rolling 5.
That's better than me because I've taken 2 strength damage at the moment, so
Yeah.
I'm a little beat up.
Yeah, I'm just grumpy. All of the damage I've taken has been empathy from last session. All right, and I'm going to take an audience to make it an even 6. We're going to stall a little bit to give our smaller party members time to...
Yeah, of course. You're not going to try and cause the collapse while they're still in there.
That is correct. 1 success.
1 success. Okay. So Bacho and Zaldrun, you're up there. You're you feel like you know exactly where the den is beneath you, and you start preparing the ground to be collapsed. You start digging in specific spots to start to weaken the area. Let's cut to underneath the ground. The camera pans. We see the feet of Zaldrin, and we see feet of Earth, and then we see Gunk and Mirren piling up layers and layers of wood here. You're going to be able to get a good blaze going. Hopefully the heat from that blaze will catch onto these roots and then begin to spread. And hopefully the firewood that you're bringing down will be enough to keep that fire going as well. Mirren, as you're pulling this wood down, it's a little more unwieldy for you because you're not used to these warrens. You're still doing fine. You're a better size for this. But you are carrying bundles of wood. You're carrying the torch as well. You're trying to keep the torch low so it's not scraping against the dirt above you. And you come into this den with the dead birds and the eggs, and your torch raises up a little bit, and there's just a little sizzle. And one of these eggs pops down on the earth in front of you. And it just kind of splats, and you see it begin to, like, this white milky substance begins to kind of ooze out. And you see something wriggling and writhing in there. You start smashing with the torch.
Stabbing with the torch.
You hear a crunch and a sizzle as the torch is burning. You pull the torch back, and a little bit of the substance kind of flies up with it and kind of stuck and burnt to the torch, but it falls down again. Looking at what you've just killed, it's been mangled now from you smashing it. But inside this egg, you expect it to be like an eel-like creature like you've been seeing. It's not. It's almost a bat-like creature. It's a leathery bird-like creature with a very long proboscis, like a needle-like face.
Oh, this is so needing to burn and die. Right.
It's definitely dead. You killed it with the torch.
Oh, all the other ones as well definitely need to burn and die. Am I allowed to roll lore to see if I understand what this one is?
Yeah, you can absolutely try. This is, I will tell you, it's going to be very difficult. It's unlike anything you've heard of in your stories.
Then I will do one more audience dice, please. Thank you.
Got it.
That is 2 success and 1 1. Could re-roll. No, all right. I'll do 2 success.
2 success. Again, you don't know what this creature is. It's unlike anything you've heard of, but you do remember stories that Grandma Donna told you. As you were a wee child, a wee halfling. And these stories were actually happy stories that she was telling you about, things about nature and beautiful animals, the things that you loved as a kid and, inspired you to be out in nature more and go exploring. Things about like caterpillars and a metamorphosis that they go through, and that they're are creatures that can start looking like one thing and then become something vastly different by the end of their lifestyle. That's the kind of thing that is recalled to you, but none of it actually applies to the monstrosity in front of you.
Oh dear. Gunk, are you in this? Are you around here, Gunk? Gunk?
Yes, Martin. Yes. What is it?
Look at this thing that I've killed here.
What indeed?
Yeah, it fell out of your eggs. Definitely your eggs, not mine. They're yours.
What?
Yep, your eggs.
I didn't.
For sure.
I don't
for
think.
sure, your eggs.
What?
Yeah, that's what we're going to call them now.
Okay.
Yeah. So look at this. It's the same sort of white substance, the pus and the egg and the grossness, but it's got a long beak and it can fly almost like a bat. It's changing, like how a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, right?
Yes.
one might call them metapods in around us. And they might turn into something like that when they're evolving.
Oh dear. That is concerning. If they can fly and travel further, they might be able to infect.
And the piercing beak is easier access.
Yes, it is like mosquito. Real asshole.
Very much so.
We should burn these, of course, but this is very concerning. If they are not just little tiny weak eels, if they are growing into something more, you don't think they will?
Well, the great old ones, the one that hungers, that is of these branch, that's the abyss is an infinite ability of forms. It's not one idea or form. So I fear we're looking at a change.
No. I am concerned what the next stage might be.
Yes, if it keeps going like this, there might be more. Either way, hitting it with a torch does still kill it.
Oh, that's good. That's good news.
Yes. We're very effective.
Not fire resistant. Okay, excellent. Good in notes.
Yes.
Okay.
Or at least not bludgeoning.
All right. So Gunk and Mirren, they finish building their pyre deep under the ground. Mirren gets a little bit of a head start and Gunk lights it. It goes up easily enough. The firewood's been nice and dry for some time now. You both scurry to the surface. Zaldrin and Bacho inform that they can't burn from the top, but they have it ready to collapse. And when you guys feel like the fire has been going for long enough, you do that, and you're able to put leverage in enough points and dig in certain spaces that there is a small indentation. The ground just kind of falls 3-4 feet, and you have a ditch in front of you now from where you collapsed. You feel like the whole den. Gunk, if you wanted to, you could go back and explore to double check, but you feel like you got it. And I think this is a good place to call it for a night. Thank you all for playing. We have a new headman now, Gunk. He's going to have 2 Skraeling heads when he's finished. Let's do some shout outs.
I have to kill some rats so that I can cosplay the hats and just put rat skulls on my heads.
Let's start with Garblag. What's going on over there?
Hey, thanks. So on Glarblag tomorrow, we are finally going to be back for some more Traveler, the Pirates of Drinax. Jim's going to be running us through starting at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central. And then on Thursday, it is my understanding that Pete is going to be continuing his Fractured Empire Star Wars campaign. Then next, come back around, and next Tuesday, Millie will be back for Coriolis, but more importantly, not that that's not very important, but Thursday night, Garblag North America, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we are going to be back with Octoon Cthulhu, the musical episode. So if you want to see Jeff and I butcher some songs or do some singing as the voice of Gregor or Pavel, I mean, how can you not tune in for that? That's Garblag.
That's pretty exciting. And I'm so glad that it's going to be recorded and we can show up and clip everything.
Yeah, it's going to be tragic. It's going to be so tragic.
Yeah. I don't see how it's going to go well. Like, you know, but
Megan really wanted it. Yeah, Megan really wanted it, and we wanted to make her happy. And by God, will be entertaining.
I mean, she wants something. Oh, she's the best. She's the best.
She is the best. She's the protagonist of the story.
That's true. She is the hero.
Jeff, go ahead and take us out then.
Well, Aaron's going to be starting up a new game for us on Friday. He's going to be running some Conan 2D20. As you can see, Steven, myself, Melissa in that game, a few of the other usual faces will jump in on that. We already did character creation, dropped the character creation video, session 0, up on YouTube today. So if you want to see the types of things that we came up with, that we were kind of cooking with a couple weeks ago when we started, that's up on YouTube. But session 1 proper will be on Friday. So come hang out with us there. Saturday we are doing One Ring, so come watch that. We've been on a very long journey, and we've learned that Steven's new character, despite claiming to be very good at being a guide on a journey, is really, really bad at being a guide on a journey.
That is what we've learned.
He's the Wolford of One Ring.
Not even a little good at it. Like, it's just crazy. Then Monday we'll be back to Holler for Savage Worlds, so you can catch that. And then also take a look at the YouTube channel. Just look for Adventures in Lollygagging. We've got all sorts of different games up there. Currently we're playing some Horror on the Orient Express for Call of Cthulhu. We got some Blade Runner up there right now that we're playing through right now as well, and a whole mess load of games that we've played in the past. And if you're a Free League fan, as Forbidden Lands is a Free League game, we have tons of Free League games up there. Vaesen, Alien, Things from the Flood, Mutant Year Zero. So go check it out. Lots of good stuff. Steven, thank you for running this, man.
Thank you all for showing up. I had a good time. Thanks for letting me torture you.
It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yay.
Let's raid somebody, shall we? I probably should have had this ready, but I don't. So let me narrate me going to the raid. Okay, who we got? We got, let's see, who we got? Let's do Lost Caravan RPG. So we're going to go ahead and raid Lost Caravan RPG because they raided us before. Very friendly folks. So follow the raid when it pops up, and we'll see you next time. So bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.